Please like and subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates.
Covering Islam is a book by Edward Said, an influential Palestinian-American literary theorist and intellectual. This book was published in 1981, and it aims to critique the way Western media, policymakers, and intellectuals have represented and analyzed the Islamic world. The book argues that areas like the Middle East, Islam, and Arab culture have been covered in the Western public discourse, particularly media, through a simplistic, biased, and misleading portrayal that essentializes and stereotypes Muslims. Said's argument posits that the Western public does not have an accurate understanding of Islam, its values, and its people, which has led to many misconceptions and prejudices. Here are 5 key takeaways from Said's Covering Islam. 1. The book argues that much of the Western media representation of Islam is based on Orientalism, which is a Eurocentric way of viewing the Arab and Islamic world. The perception of the Middle East is created in the West, and Said suggests that it is based on a set of imperialist beliefs, rooted in ethnocentric prejudice and dogmatism. The Western media's representation of Islam is often simplistic, biased, and misleading, and Said sees this as part of a longer history of European cultural hegemony. 2. Said notes that this misinformation, prejudice, and political influence has been the cause of increased hostility between the West and the Islamic world. This book argues that the events that led to the widespread anti-Islamic attitudes that exist in the contemporary discourse are the result of long-term misunderstanding, stereotypes, and prejudice that work to misconstrue the Islamic world as a whole. 3. The book posits that the portrayal of Islam in the media is often selective, sensationalist, and misleading. This misrepresentation results from a lack of first-hand knowledge of the Islam and the Middle East and a subordination of reality to certain preconceptions and biases. 4. The book argues that the Western public lacks an adequate understanding of the diversity within the Muslim world, and that it is important to disentangle Islam as a religion from Islamic states or groups. This is clear in the media portrayal of Muslim groups as homogeneous blocks and the tendency to universalize specific practices of Islamic groups or states. This simplification leads to stereotypical views of the Islamic world that do not match the lived reality, and it ultimately hampers the possibility of political discourse and understanding. 5. Finally, the book argues that there is a need for greater cultural exchange between the West and Islamic cultures. It suggests that the West must listen and try to understand the Islamic world, to engage in dialogue, take into consideration Islamic thought and experience and present a more nuanced version of it to the public. The representation of Islam in the West will be enhanced by having direct experience and first-hand knowledge of Islam in Islamic countries. In conclusion, Said's Covering Islam argues that the Western media and analysis of Islam have been fundamentally flawed in terms of factual accuracy and deep understanding of the Islamic world. It suggests that the media representations have led to a damaging misunderstanding between the Islamic community and the West. Therefore, it is important to address these issues by dismantling the stereotypical views and fostering dialogue between societies. Said's work is still critically important today, in an age where media tends to focus on sensationalism and lack of nuance, creating a further divide between understanding and reality.